Hi guys, this is Vineet, and in today's video we will discuss about concepts of file states in SQL Server. So before we proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please remember a few points. Please watch the video till the end to gain better clarity of the concept, and if possible for you, please watch this video twice and perform any exercises mentioned in the video in your test environment only, and please do not touch any production environments to practice. And we would like to know your thoughts regarding our video, so please make sure to share your comments. And in case you need the PDF copy of the notes which I am discussing in the video, you can send me an email. What I need in the email is the proof of subscription. A sample screenshot is given below, which is showing subscribed along with my channel name and the name of the video. In order to subscribe, there's a subscribe button below my video. Click on that subscribe button. It will show you the bell icon. Click on that bell icon and select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. So upon receiving your email, I will send you the copy of the notes as per the video name mentioned in the screenshot. Now let's come back to the topic, which is concepts of file states in SQL Server. Let's go to notes quickly. So we will be discussing concepts on file states. Let me pick up my pen pointer. Alright, so we are discussing concepts about the file states. So a database consists of various files. So for example, if I show you in SQL Server, for example, if we take MyDB, go to properties. So this database consists of various files. We see it consists of 4 files. One file is in primary file group, 2 of the files are in secondary file group, and the log file is without any file group. So total of 4 files allocated to this database. And this is the physical location of the database, and including the file name. These are the physical file names. Now let's go back to notes. So we are discussing about the state of the files, individual files. Now in SQL Server, the state of the database file is maintained independently from the state of the database. So what we are mentioning here is that state of the file is different from the state of the database, and it is managed separately. Earlier in my earlier video, I had discussed about the states of the database, so you can watch that video from the playlist or my channel section, and where I had discussed on the state of the databases, discussed on various states, but here we will be discussing about the state of database files, and this state is maintained independently from the state of the database. Now a file can be in one specific state at any particular time. So for example, we can say a file can be in online state or a file can be in offline state, and we can view the current state of the files using the sys.masterfiles catalog view or sys.database file catalog view. So it is also saying that if the state of the database is offline, so in our example the state any of the database are not showing as offline. So in case they are offline, or in case we have taken them offline, the state of the data files can be viewed by using the sys.masterfiles view catalog view instead of the sys.database files view. So otherwise sys.database files can be used if your database is online. Otherwise you should be using the sys.masterfiles view. So now let's take a look at both the system catalog views. So I'm triggering a query. So let's query this system catalog view. So sys.database underscore files. So if we execute this statement, So it is executing in context to the current database, which is selected here in this drop down. So my DB is selected, so it is showing us 4 files of that DB, 3 other data files showing rows. One is the log file, these are the name of the file names, and there's a status column which shows that every file is online. Alright, and let me do one thing. Let me take one of the data files offline. So for example, let me take this dat1 offline. So let's go to this location and see. So let's look out for this file. Search for the file. Let's move that file out. So I'm cutting it from this location and putting it in my documents. So pasting it here. So it is saying that file is opened currently in SQL Server. So let me close this query window out, and let's disconnect from the database for the time being, and let me paste that file out if it's allowing me. So let's try that now. So cutting the file and pasting it in my documents. It should allow now. So it is still saying that file is opened in SQL Server. Let me close the SQL Server altogether. Now try again. So it is still saying that file is in use right now. Okay. Let me try to move other file, maybe this one. Okay, it's still saying the files are in use. Maybe I need to stop the SQL Server services, but I don't want to do that. So let's leave that for the time being, and let's go back to SQL Server and let's again query this catalog view. So let's go inside this database. So we were taking a look at MyDB. We were querying the sys.database files system catalog view. So it was saying that it has 4 files and all of them are online. So this is the state description column, which we can check to know the state of the file. Now let me take this database offline by selecting task and taking it offline. Let's do that. Maybe I need to close the previous window because okay, so database is offline now as it is showing here. Let me try to query the same view. Okay, it is not allowing me to issue any of the query against that database. So what if I do select star from sys.database files? I cannot use that catalog view. Now right now it's showing for master, so this catalog view cannot be used in case your database is offline. So what you can do, you can use the other view, which is sys master files. So let's execute this. So this provides information about each and every database. So we can filter it by name, maybe the database name. So let's put it as MyDB, so that it can show the files for MyDB database. It is not showing any, so let me check again. So yeah, if you take a look at the last four, these are the name of the files and not the database. Not sure if it gives the database name. So, but yeah, we can see that these four are the files, and the status of the files are still online, though the database status is offline. So let me bring back this database online. So I was just showing that sys.database file views catalog view is not available when database is offline. So let me bring that online. Database online, we can definitely query the database files catalog view, and we can select the MyDB as the database too. Again, it's not showing the information. Let me close that out and try that again. So new query, select star from sys dot database files. Okay, let's try that. Now it has started showing up the four files which are under that database. All of them are showing as online. So let's go back to notes. So we have queried, we have just now shown you how to query the sys.master files and sys.database file catalog views to know the state of the files, whether it's online or offline. Now talking about the state of the files, the state of the files in a file group determines the availability of the whole file group. So if any of the file in a file group is offline, that file group becomes offline as well. For a whole file group to be available, all the files under that file group must be online. So this is what I was discussing. So file group also becomes offline if any of the files under it becomes offline. And in order for whole file group to be available, all file under that file group must be online. And we can also view the state of the file group by using sys.filegroups catalog view. And if a file group is offline and you try to access it using the tsql statement, it will fail with an error. Alright, so let's check the state of the file group. So let's query this catalog view sys.filegroups. Now if we take a look here, it is showing that this particular database, it is running in context of MyDB because MyDB is selected here. So it is showing that we have two file groups, primary and MyDB underscore fg1, and fg1 is the default file group, and that's it. That's the information we have. However, it is not showing us the status where file group is showing us online, so status is not shown here. But yeah, it was saying in the notes that we will not be able to access the file group if it is offline. So state of the file group not shown here. Okay, now let's go to next statement. So when a query optimizer builds the query plans for select statements, we will talk about query optimizer in our upcoming videos, so stay in tune. Please subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button below. So when a query optimizer builds query plans for the select statements, it basically avoids any non-cluster indexes and any indexes or any index views that reside in the offline file group. So while building the query plan, the query optimizer ignores any non-clustered indexes as well as any index views that are created on the or that reside in the offline file groups, letting these statements to succeed. The reason the query optimizer avoids these non-cluster indexes and index views is that that reside in the offline file group. So it does that in order to let the statements to succeed. Otherwise, if it considers the non-clustered indexed and the index views, the query statement will fail. Alright, so it ignores those non-clustered indexes and the index views that are in offline file groups. Now, if the offline file group contains a heap, so what is a heap? Heap is basically a table without an index. It's simply a plain table without any index. So it is saying if the offline file group contains a heap which is table without an index or clustered index of the target table, the select statement fail. So the select statement will fail it in case a clustered indexes applied on the table. Moreover, any insert, update or delete statement that modifies the table with any index in an offline file group will fail. So basically it is indicating the whole purpose of this paragraph is that if any of the indexes resides in the offline file groups with the exception of non-clustered indexes and index views, if any clustered indexes are there in the offline file group, the select statement will fail if we want to query a particular table. And the table and the database has a file group that contains the clustered indexes offline. So it will fail that particular query. Now let's talk about various file states that a file can be in. So far we had discussed about two states, that is online and offline. Now let's talk about them in detail. So what is an online file state? The file is available for all operations. So online indicates that your file is available for all the operations, and files in the primary file groups are always online if the database itself is online. So if our database is showing, for example, MyDB is showing as online, it also indicates that the files in your primary file group are online. And if a file in the primary file group is not online, the database is not online. Now let's talk about the offline state of the files. This basically indicates that file is not available for access and may not be present on the disk. That can be one of the reasons. Now let's try something. Let me close SQL Server out. Let's again try to make one of the files offline, see if we are able to. So I'm going to this location, C program for Microsoft SQL Server, the data files, so let's remove one of these files, see if it is moving out. So it is saying that SQL Server is still accessing this file. Let me stop the services for the time being. Let me stop the services. So SQL Server is still having an open handle to this file. Let me stop that for the time being. Yep. Now let me try to move that file quickly. Let's try that again. So it is allowing us to move the file. So file is now moved to my documents folder. Now let's start SQL Server quickly and try to open SQL Server Management Studio. I'm connected to a database instance. So what MyDB is saying is recovery pending, which is basically indicating that some of the files are not available. So let's execute the as the database is not online. I don't think so it will allow me to query that sys.database files catalog view. So what I'm using is I'm using the sys.master files catalog view. So let's check the state of the file. It is as it is moved from the default location. So if we come to the end, we have these files. So I had moved fg1 dat1. Let's confirm. Yeah, fg1 1ndf is the file name for that. We can check that from here. This is the file name. So what it is showing, it's still showing as online, but it is not online at the moment. The file is offline. Okay, let's quickly move out the primary database file and see what happens. Close the SQL Server and stop the SQL service so that it should not interfere. Let's go to location. So this is the primary data file. Let's move that as well. So this is the file which is under the primary file group. Let's start the SQL Server and see. So SQL Server is starting. Let's see what happens. Let's connect to the instance, and so it is still saying recovery pending. Let's query the master files catalog view. So select star from sys.master files. Now let's take a look at files for that. So far I have moved this one and the primary one. All of them are showing as online, but yeah, the database went into the recovery pending mode as the file status is online, but the files are not available. Let me put the files back in to the default location. Let's paste them here. So both the files are copied. Now let's refresh the database. It should recover in some time, but yeah, if I disconnect and close it and try to connect to it again, I hope it should recover. So it still says recovery is pending. Let me close it and let me restart the SQL Server services maybe. So recovery is done as files are available now. Now let's go back to notes. So let's discuss about these states one by one, the file states. So online is when file is available for all operations. So in our case, all the files are available. Files in the primary file group are always online if the database itself is online. So if the database is online, the primary file group files are online. It implies that. So if a file in the primary file group is not online, the database is not online. Now let's talk about the offline state of the files. Files can be explicitly set to the offline state. I had mentioned this in one of our earlier videos. You can check that out, how to take the files offline in a particular database. There's a tsql command for that. The file is not available for access. So offline state indicates that the file is not available for access and may not be present on the disk. It may not be present on the disk. File may become offline by explicit user action. So that is what I was discussing. A particular user can put a particular file in offline mode. So it can be done by using the explicit user action, and these files remain offline until additional user action is taken to bring them online. And a file state can be set offline as well when the file is corrupted. So another way when the file state becomes offline is when the file becomes corrupt. Its state goes to offline. But so how to come out of that situation where the file gets corrupted and your file state goes offline? What you can do, you can restore that file from a backup. A file set to offline can only be set online by restoring the file from the backup. So if we need a backup copy of that file, we can restore the copy of that file from a backup taken earlier. And for more information, you can watch out my other video on single file restoration in the business continuity playlist. So I would again suggest you to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button below. You can watch out my business continuity playlist. It contains lots of videos on backup and restore that will help you out immensely. Okay, now let's come back to our topic. So in case a file becomes corrupt and goes offline, you can restore it from the backup so that it can comes into the online state. Now third reason, a database file can also set to offline when database is in full or bulk log recovery and the file is dropped. So when a database is in recovery mode and during that time if a file is dropped, it will show as offline in this master database master files system catalog view. So what it is indicating is, if we are using a full recovery model or a bulk log recovery model, and if we explicitly drop the file or delete the file, it does not immediately remove the entry in the sys.master file table. So it waits until the transaction log gets truncated past the drop LSN value. So whenever we do a drop operation, though that transaction gets logged in the transaction log file, and once this transaction is committed, then only the entry gets removed from the master files system catalog view. So these are the three reasons our file status can be set to offline. So one is it is set to offline by explicit user action. Second state is when it is become corrupted. Third state is if we explicitly dropped it and the transaction is not committed yet, showing file as offline in the sysmaster file system catalog view. Now let's talk about the restoring file state, which basically indicates that file is being restored. Files entering the restoring state because of a restore command affecting the whole file. So if the file is in restoring state, it means that that particular file is being restored, or we are in the middle of some restore operation. We're not just mentioning about the page restore operation. and the file remain in the restoring state until the restore is completed and the file is recovered. Another state the file can be in is the recovery pending state, so which basically indicates that a recovery of the file has been postponed, and basically a file enters this state automatically because of piecemeal restore process. So you can again watch out my other videos on piecemeal restores. Subscribe to my channel. There is a subscribe button below. Click on the subscribe button and you can watch out my playlist on the business continuity section, where you will find the video on the piecemeal restore process. You can watch that out. So a file can also enter this state automatically if we are doing a piecemeal restore, in which the file is not restored and recover. So if during the piecemeal restore, if we do not recover a particular file, it enters the recovery pending state, and additional action is required by user at that point to resolve the error and allow for the recovery process to be completed. And you can watch out my video on piecemeal restore process to gain more clarity on what the piecemeal restore is. Now let's go to next status, which is suspect. A file can come into suspect status as well. So recovery of the file failed. In case the recovery of the file is failed during an online restore process, if the file is in primary file group and the recovery of that file failed, the database is also marked as suspect. Otherwise, only the file is marked as suspect and the database is still online. So if that particular file is part of primary file group and it is not recovered, it is marked as suspect, and also the database associated with that file is also marked as suspect. And if it's not a part of primary file group, if the file is not a part of primary file group, then the file is marked as suspect, but the database will still show as online and will not be marked as suspect. The file will remain in the suspect state until it is made available by one of the following methods. Either we can restore and recover that file, or we may also use the dbcc check db option with repair reload data loss option. So that are some of the measures that we can take to bring the file online from the suspect state. Now let's talk about the defunct state of file. Earlier we talked about the defunct file groups in one of my videos. You can watch that video out. It's in the, you can check out my playlist. It should be on my channel page. The video should be on my channel page. So read about the defunct file groups. What are those? Here we are talking about the defunct state of file, which basically indicates the file was dropped when it was not online. So in case the file is in offline state and we drop that file, the file goes into the defunct state. All files in a file group become defunct when an offline file group is removed. So basically it is saying that if a particular file group is offline and we remove that file group, all the files under that file group goes into the defunct state. And a file also goes into a defunct state if it is offline, the status is offline, but we also drop the file. It goes into a defunct state then. And you can watch out my other video on defunct file groups to gain better clarity. So guys, we are done with this video. I hope you liked this video. Please click like button if you really liked it. Please do comment on our videos and share this video with your friends. Also please subscribe to our channel. Click on the subscribe button below this video. Click on the bell icon. Select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. Many of the useful videos are still coming in and are in the pipeline. I will be uploading those videos soon. So thank you so much for your time on this video, and you have a wonderful day ahead.